Hello everybody, Ben Rogers here, the Raptors Digest, reacting to a bundle of Toronto Raptors news, so let's dive straight into it. And the first thing we're talking about is Malachi Flynn returning tomorrow for the Toronto Raptors. Now obviously, tomorrow's game is against the Miami Heat in Toronto, Canada, and there's one return that everyone's hyping up, and it's obviously the Raptors' GOAT, Lowry, but there's another guy that might be sneaking his way back onto the court, another Raptors point guard, I guess current Raptors point guard, not a former Raptors point guard. It's Malachi Flynn, because Malachi Flynn is listed as questionable for tomorrow's game against the Miami Heat. He logged 14 minutes in a rehab game against the 905 and only scored 2 points, 1 of 6 shooting from the field, 0 of 3 from the three-point line. At least he got 3 assists. Josh Loonberg's thrown in also that Yuta Watanabe is questionable for tomorrow as well. But this is interesting. This is some interesting news if Malachi Flynn can return, because if you look at what people are saying about this team, you watch this team play, and the trio of power forwards we have coming off the bench has been nice for the squad. We've been winning a bunch of games since the trade deadline, and Boucher, Thaddeus Young, and Precious Achiuwa. Got to get the propaganda going early in this podcast. Shout out Precious, playing phenomenal. But those three guys have been great for us off the bench. But the question has been, who will help us in the guard position? Because obviously we have Fred VanVleet, we have our star boy Gary Trent Jr., who are coming back into form now. They're looking like they're recovering from injuries just a little bit. Obviously in the previous game against the Orlando Magic, Raptors kind of cruise controlled their way to victory, so not the most efficient games, lots of hucking up shots, but there's still question marks about who could be the backup point guard for this team. Now, or point guard, shooting guard, whatever, right? We need one of those backup guards. We saw Armoni Brooks get a lot of run over the past few weeks in terms of that position, but over the past 2-3 games, we haven't seen much of Armoni coming off the bench, getting rotation minutes. So there is one guy that was really showing out in his opportunity, his slight opportunity, his sliver of opportunity, and that was Malachi Flynn before he ended up going down with injury. And I think he's a guy that if we have, a bit of a grace period here, obviously 5-6 games left in the season, if we can get Malachi Flynn back into form, I think Nick Nurse would rely on him more than a Delano Banton, who obviously just can't be played at this point because teams just switch into a 2-3 zone, and Delano's inability to shoot and, slash against those zones keeps him from, he's easy to scheme against. Obviously, our guy, Justin Champagnie, currently is not going to be a guy on the roster because we did end up signing Armoni Brooks, but he's a guy that's killing it in the G League right now. And Brooks, three-point shooter, defender, will he get run? He hasn't been playing lately. So Malachi Flynn, he could get that opportunity. Now, as Josh Loonberg brought up, didn't look too hot in his sort of tune-up game with the G League, but that's to be expected. Players coming back from injury are struggling. I'd say let him have one big game. Get the confidence going in the G League before you bring him up. Let him have a big game. Let him rock out with something, because you don't want Malachi Flynn coming out incompetent and then tanking his value, not letting Nurse, losing all confidence in Nick Nurse, send him straight back to the Nick Nursery. That's what might happen if we throw Malachi Flynn in too early. So that's my take. Do I think he'll play tomorrow? Unlikely. He's questionable, but he's probably healthy enough for a return, and maybe he will be sort of returned, if that makes sense. I don't think he's going to get minutes, but I think we should let him run in the G League a little bit. Let him rock out. Let him play a little bit. So we'll see what ends up happening with Malachi Flynn, because he could be a valuable piece if we're trying to make a little bit of a playoff run. But the next topic of discussion we're diving into today is an NBA exec calls Scottie Barnes Rookie of the Year. And there's been a lot of people speaking on Scottie Barnes' potential Rookie of the Year candidacy. And there's the guys of Evan Mobley, Cade Cunningham, Scottie Barnes. Lots of debates about who will win Rookie of the Year, especially go on NBA Reddit, NBA Twitter, all that stuff. But an NBA exec has come out and given praise to Scottie Barnes. And he said the Raptors have been battling injuries, lineup uncertainty all year, and Scottie Barnes has been the one few constants for them. If impacting the team's success on the court is taken into account for Rookie of the Year, Barnes has been the most impactful rookie this season. So an NBA executive's calling Scottie Barnes obviously the Rookie of the Year. If you're taking impact into account, winning, and that's the real argument that a lot of people are pushing the narratives for Evan Mobley over the course of this year. Oh, the Cavs are way better than the Raptors. You got to give it to Mobley. Similar stats, yada, yada, yada. Well, the Toronto Raptors, they are currently above the Cleveland Cavaliers in the standings, and in large part due to Scottie Barnes and his impact on winning. He said in the post-game interview that he's a winner, he's always been a winner, and he's going to win that Rookie of the Year award. If it goes to Evan Mobley, if it goes to Cade Cunningham, I'm going to be disappointed because they all have similar stats. Cade has the most impressive stats in terms of scoring. I'll give him credit there, but the rest, the efficiency, yikes. Cade's also number 1, number 2 option down there for the Detroit Pistons. With that sort of opportunity, even though Scottie Barnes has comparable shots per game, I think it's only 2-3 extra for Cade Cunningham, but he's getting his shots and his plays run for him, and a system built around Cade Cunningham, whereas Scottie Barnes is the 5th option on a playoff team, assistant, playing defense, doing everything out there on the court for winning basketball and putting up the same number of stats. I don't think there's a comparison there. And Evan Mobley, similar stats, similar play style, strong defender in Evan Mobley, but the Raptors have a better team record. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? You got to give it to the guy with the better record that's impacting winning, that's doing all those sorts of things. So shout out to Scottie Barnes. Got to get that Rookie of the Year. I saw Bill Simmons also say that he would give Scottie Barnes his Rookie of the Year vote. I've seen a few more people, more of those guys that have votes and executives talk now coming out speaking on Scottie Barnes. So he's getting his love. No disrespect coming, at least from the NBA media right now. So that's a big W for our guy, our rookie Scottie Barnes. But not a W, a big L that came for potentially the worst Raptors take of all time. Now, we've heard some bad ones. We've had some bad ones on the Raptors Digest here. It is what it is. Once if you're putting your opinions out there, you're going to have some bad takes. I waned off the Twitter a little bit. Probably should get that back rocking at some point, but used to be a Twitter guy and probably one of the worst tweets in regards to the Raptors at all. It ended up getting deleted. And for people that don't know, I got to shine light out because it was deleted, missed it. I've been health and safety protocols the past few days, so I still want to address it. But this tweet came from Sam Amico saying that an easy fix. Toronto. So to put some context on here before I read this verbatim. So news came out that specifically the Philadelphia 76ers and the Boston Celtics were unwilling to state that their team has been fully vaccinated. Now, obviously, there's a bunch of drama on the Kyrie Irving situation. There's players across the league that haven't been vaccinated. It is what it is. But these two teams wouldn't sort of say that their guys were fully vaxxed. And an indication of sorts that it wasn't, some random scrub on these teams. It wasn't some just trash player that wouldn't be able to play. And obviously, then people bring up, okay, these are potential matchups for the Toronto Raptors in the first round. And if you want to play in Canada, you got to be vaxxed across the border. So Sam Amico got a little bit frustrated, got a little bit political. Have whatever your stance on that stuff. Obviously I'm double vaxxed. I get vaxxed, stay safe, all that stuff. But Sam Amico had some strong opinions and saying that easy fix. Toronto's ineligible for the playoffs or has to play home playoff games in the U.S. Don't punish U.S. teams because of another country's rules. The tweet reads, this is verbatim from an NBA reporter. These guys, investigative, trying to build their name, doing these things. Obviously, Sam Amico isn't the most credible guy in terms of NBA news, and isn't the most credible guy, clearly, in terms of laws, because saying this is a law in Canada, just another country's rules. Well, the United States, in fact, has the same rule. If you want to go into the United States, you gotta be double vaxxed. So it's not really another country's rule. You want to cross that border one way or another, gotta get that vax. So I don't know. He wants the Raptors to either be ineligible for the playoffs, which would be great because probably his favorite team. I don't know who this guy is, or what his affiliations are. Obviously, we've seen him report some stuff for the past few years, watching the channel and all that. But what does he want? This team to not play? Play down in Tampa once again? Get out of here with that nonsense. One of the dumbest things I've ever read. One of the dumbest things I've ever seen. Raptors shouldn't play because of a country's rules. Get out of here with that nonsense. It's just stupidity. Just pure stupidity. But another thing, we already talked about a return earlier in this video, but Kyle Lowry, he's making his return tomorrow. He called out Nick Nurse. He spoke on Scottie Barnes. He's doing the Toronto press run, as he's been doing over the past couple weeks. I tell you, it calls out Nick Nurse. He threw a jab at Nick Nurse, saying that Nurse is going to try and scheme for Kyle Lowry, not let him get his game going, not let him rock out with anything there. So that's we'll see how Kyle Lowry, if he's coming out motivated, trying to show up his former coach, his former team. He also came out and spoke on Scottie Barnes and how phenomenal he is. Says he's been watching him since he was a youngin', knew that he'd be an NBA player, knew that he's been growing, developing, all that sort of stuff. So it's just great to see Kyle Lowry speaking on the Raptors, showing love for the team. He says he basically watches all of our games. So it's going to be a truly historic night, him returning, because this is really a long time since he's played in Toronto, because obviously last season he was on the team, but or early in the year we faced off against him, I don't think in Toronto, and he was out for most of those games. He's supposed to come back for one of them. However, yeah, we had these games got canceled last season, playing down in Tampa, so couldn't play in front of Raptors fans at that point. The playoffs the previous year and the end of the season all happened in the bubble. So it's really been since 2019. We've seen Kyle Lowry in Toronto in the 6 north of the border, so it's going to be cool to see. Going to be cool to see. Hopefully everyone can make it out to that game that's in Toronto and check it out. Show some love. Spread some love to the Raptors growth. But you guys are best for making this far. Check out the Instagram, the TikTok, the Twitter, all of that cool stuff. Let me know what you guys think about all these Raptors news. Let me know in the comment section below. I'm signing off. Cheers.